Super Falcons ahead of Four Nation tournament. Those are the headlines. Now the news in details. Nigeria's highest court, the Supreme Court, today temporarily halted the move by the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria to ban the use of the old Naira notes from February 10, 2023. A seven-member panel led by Justice John Okoro halted the federal government's plan in a ruling in an ex parte application brought by three northern states of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara. The February 10 deadline for the currency swap, announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, pitted Governors Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, and Bello Matawale of Zamfara State against 14 political parties, which threatened to boycott the February 25 election should the CBN extend the time limit. This is as the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory restrained the President, Muhammadu Buhari, CBN, and its Governor, Godwin Emefiele, and 27 commercial banks from suspending, stopping, extending, or interfering with the currency swap terminal date. The order was handed down on Monday by Justice E. Enenche following an application by four political parties. The three governors who dragged the CBN and the federal government to the Supreme Court were seeking a halt to the full implementation of the Naira redesign policy initiated by the Apex Bank. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed worry that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's new cashless policy, might negatively affect some of its operations. It therefore urged the CBN to bear in mind that many of its service providers are unbanked and that emergency situations that would require cash payments could arise during the general election, which begins February 25th. The Commission said it would not have issues paying some service providers through electronic platforms, but with the unbanked who are mostly involved in transporting election materials to wards and polling units. Chairman of the Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, said this when he led an 11-member team to CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele in Abuja.
In view of the recent policy involving the redesign of some denominations of our national currency and the limits placed on cash withdrawals and availability, we consider this meeting important in addressing some of the areas of concern with just 17 days to the 2023 general election.
Responding, the CBN governor assured INEC as well as Nigerians that the Apex Bank will not do anything inimical to the successful conduct of the polls, assuring that the Apex Bank will provide INEC needed Naira notes as required.
The central bank will not allow itself either to be used or itself to central bank to be seen as an agent that frustrated a positive outcome of that election. And if in this case, after making your electronic payment, you require some money to pay transporters, in this case cash, the assurance I give to you is that we will make it available.
Thank you.
The Commonwealth has raised a 16-man observer group for the forthcoming general elections. It said the election is significant for Africa and the wider democratic world. The team, which is headed by former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, will monitor the poll from February 18th to March 2nd. The disclosures were made in a statement by the Commonwealth Secretary General, Patricia Scotland Casey. According to the statement, before the election, the group will have an audience with all the parties, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and his team, the Inspector General of Police, and other security agencies. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has pledged to invest towards a better exploration of the crude oil recently discovered in boundary communities between Bauchi and Gombe states if elected the next president of Nigeria. He also promised to invest the required amount of money for the empowerment of youths and women in the country to discourage restiveness and other forms of antisocial behavior. Atiku, who was in Bauchi to canvass votes, told the crowd of supporters at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium in Bauchi that he will revive rail transportation in the state. Atiku said he appreciated the warm reception accorded him by the people of Bauchi State and the peaceful conduct of the campaign rally.
PDP from top to bottom. I have also pledged that the petroleum resources that has been discovered between Bauchi and Gombe will be exploited and brought back to the benefit of the people. I have also pledged to make sure that our young men and women receive loans to set up their own small and medium enterprises for self-employment.
In view of the recent policy involving the redesign.
Moving on, the outgoing president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Mr. Ayuba Waba, has said that the organized labor is seeking an end to the nation's fuel importation policy as it will lead to a reduction in the prices of fuel. Waba gave the hint in Abuja at the Congress's 13th Quadrennial National Delegates Conference. The theme of the conference is Building People's Power, National Unity, and Quests for a New Social Contract. According to him, rather than seek a reduction in the prices of fuel, Labour will seek a policy change. Waba said that the federal government could remove the subsidy on petroleum products when it starts refining locally. The NLC president then noted that oil was God's gift to Nigeria and hence it should impact on the economy positively. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, has condemned the killing of 16 Nigerians traveling in Burkina Faso as unjustifiable, callous and criminal. The chairman and chief executive officer of NIDCOM, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, condemned the killing in a statement signed by Mr. Abdurrahman Balogun, head of Media, Public Relations and Protocol Unit, NIDCOM in Abuja. The NIDCOM chair called on the Burkinabe authorities to fish out the perpetrators and prosecute them accordingly. Dabiri Erewa, who reiterated President Muhammadu Buhari's resolve to ensure appropriate sanction through diplomacy to those who were involved in the wicked killing, said it was a condemnable and barbaric act. The NIDCOM boss then joined others in condoling with the families and friends of the deceased and prayed for the safety of other stranded Nigerians in the country. It's the 1 p.m. news on Splash 105, the 5 FM. Still ahead, New Zealand pilots taken hostage by separatists in Indonesia. Colombia call up 23 players match against Super Falcons ahead of four-nation tournament on the foreign scene and in the exciting world of sport. Glad you're still with us. It's still the 1 p.m. news on Splash 105, the 5 FM, the integrity station. Welcome back. Now turning to the foreign scene. A New Zealand pilot has been taken hostage by separatist fighters in Indonesia's Papua region. Mr. Mertens, aged 37, was taken after his plane carrying 5 passengers was attacked after it landed in the remote mountainous province of Nduga. His abductors, the West Papua National Liberation Army, TPNPB, said he is safe, adding that they would not release him until the independence of West Papua is recognized. A West Papua National Liberation Army spokesman, Sebi Sambam, said the 5 passengers who were also on board, including a child, has been released because they were native Papuans. Indonesian authorities say they are deploying a search and rescue team. However, the police noted that it was logistically difficult because the remote area can only be reached by air. United States President Joe Biden has called on Republicans to help finish the job of delivering for hardworking families in his annual State of the Union address. The Democrats stressed the importance of bipartisanship to a divided Congress where the lower chamber now has a Republican majority. He also vowed to defend U.S. sovereignty in the wake of an incursion by an alleged Chinese spy balloon. The speech was seen as a roadmap for a widely expected 2024 re-election bid. Mr. Biden's 73-minute address came as his public approval rating hovers near the next level of his presidency. Finally, in sports news, ahead of the four-nation tournament tagged Revelation Cup and the match against the Super Falcons, the head coach of Colombia, Nelson Abadia, has announced the final list. The competition is designed to put the four nations, which include Costa Rica, Nigeria Super Falcons, and the host, Mexico. The coach late on Tuesday evening released the lists of 23 players that will kickstart preparations for the competition. The Revelation Cup is slated to start on February 15th, with invited countries ready to slug it. According to the organizer, the competition is going to be one in which each contestant meets every other participant, and the country with the highest points wins the cup. That ends the news, but just before we go, a recap of the headlines. Supreme Court has stopped old Naira notes deadline implementation. NITCOM has condemned killing of some Nigerians in Burkina Faso as unjustifiable. On the foreign scene, New Zealand pilots taken hostage by separatists in Indonesia, while in the exciting world of sports, Colombia call up 23 players match against Super Falcons ahead of four-nation tournament. For more details on the news, please visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS and Google Play Store to listen live, get news updates, opinion poll, and you can also report an event live to us through the iReports feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station, and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawowo, assisted by Chinwe Churchill. I am Catherine Adeogun. Good afternoon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Quick, Charger 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.